Coming up on 5 Minute News. Mitch McConnell blasts conspiracy theorist Marjorie Taylor Greene. US to resume deporting asylum seekers after judge rejects Biden order. And Jared Kushner nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. It's Tuesday, February 2. I'm Anthony Davis. Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell denounced newly elected Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Monday, calling the far-right Georgia Republicans' embrace of conspiracy theories a cancer for the Republican Party. Somebody who suggested that perhaps no aeroplane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, that horrifying school shootings were pre-staged, and that the Clintons crashed JFK Jr.'s airplane is not living in reality, said McConnell. This has nothing to do with the challenges facing American families or the robust debates on substance that can strengthen our party. The statement comes as House Democrats are mounting an effort to formally rebuke Greene, who has a history of making racist remarks, embracing conspiracy theories including QAnon, and endorsing violence directed at Democrats. It also puts pressure on House Republican leaders to discipline her. Democrats have teed up action on Wednesday to send a resolution to the House floor that would strip Greene of assignments on the House Education and Budget Committees if House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy doesn't do so first. Some Democrats have called for going further and expelling Greene from the House, an unlikely outcome that would require backing from Republicans since expulsion requires a 2/3 vote. Another option is censure. US Immigration and Customs Enforcement is preparing to resume deportations of asylum seekers after a Trump-appointed Texas judge ruled against a 100-day suspension ordered by President Joe Biden. The ruling, in response to a challenge from a leading figure in the Republican efforts to overturn the election result, marks the first shot in a legal rearguard action by Trump loyalists intended to stymie the Biden administration's agenda. Human rights activists say the resumption of flights also raised the question of whether ICE agents who have been accused of systemic abuse of migrants and detainees might seek to resist the new administration's efforts to reform the agency. An ICE plane left San Antonio for Port-au-Prince on Monday morning carrying Haitians detained on the US-Mexican border and expelled under a highly controversial ICE interpretation of public health laws. Deportations were due to be limited to suspected terrorists, convicted felons deemed a threat to public security, and undocumented people caught on the border after November 1st. At least some of the potential deportees have legal cases pending, and one of them was granted an emergency stay by an appeals court on Sunday evening. The federal judge in Texas, Drew Tipton, appointed by Donald Trump last June, ordered the stay, blocking Biden's suspension. Tipton's nomination was opposed by Democrats over concerns over his lack of judicial experience. The case against the moratorium was brought by the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who played a leading role in the effort to overturn the 2020 election result. Former White House senior advisor Jared Kushner and his deputy Avi Berkowitz have been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize for their role in negotiating 4 unexpected normalization deals between Israel and Arab nations known as the Abraham Accords. Kushner, who is Trump's son-in-law, and Berkowitz, who was the Middle East envoy, were key figures in negotiating deals between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco. The 2 former deputies to the then-President Donald Trump were nominated by American attorney Alan Dershowitz. Dershowitz defended Trump in his first impeachment trial last year. The bar for nominations is low, as they are accepted from thousands of people, from members of parliament to former winners and heads of state. There were more than 300 nominations for last year's award, which was ultimately won by the World Food Programme. The Abraham Accords were announced between mid-August and mid-December. The deals established formal relations between Israel, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, but they fell short of actual peace deals as the three countries already maintain significant informal ties and have not been at war. The agreements also made little mention of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which has been the main obstacle to diplomatic progress. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.